In a dimly lit bar at the edge of the city, the air smelled of spilt beer and broken dreams. The regulars had stopped expecting anything new, the jukebox stuck on the same old classics from decades past. At a small corner stage, a young man named Elias adjusted a second-hand guitar, his hands trembling. Elias wasn't famous. He wasn't even particularly noticed. He worked nights at a warehouse, lifting crates until his back screamed. But music was his blood. His dream wasn't to become a celebrity, but to feel alive, to remind himself that his voice mattered. That night, instead of playing his usual original songs that nobody cared for, Elias decided to transform a well-known pop anthem into something raw, stripped down, aching. He began with nothing but gentle fingerpicking, slowing the tempo, his deep voice trembling at first, then rising like a prayer. At first, the crowd ignored him. Glasses clinked, laughter roared. But halfway through the chorus, the bar fell silent. He wasn't singing the song as it was written, he was bleeding it out, turning a radio hit into a confession of his own brokenness. Every note trembled with honesty. By the end, even the bartender, usually too busy, leaned forward with wide eyes. The last note hung in the air like smoke, heavy, impossible to breathe around. The crowd erupted. Strangers clapped, cheered, some even stood. Elias bowed his head, tears burning his cheeks. For the first time in years, he felt seen. And in that moment, the bar wasn't forgotten anymore. Across town, a grandmother named Rosa sat in her faded armchair, her hair silver, her body frail. She had once been a dancer in Havana, but arthritis had stolen her movement, and loneliness her joy. Her granddaughter Lena, only 14, shy and quiet, visited every Sunday with her guitar. That afternoon, Lena asked, "Abuela, can I try something different today?" Rosa nodded, expecting the usual children's songs. Instead, Lena began to play a global chart-topping hit, one Rosa had only faintly heard on TV. But the way Lena sang it was nothing like the original. She slowed it, gave it a Spanish twist, and played each chord with aching tenderness. Rosa closed her eyes. Suddenly, the song was no longer just a pop track, it was her youth, her memories of dancing barefoot under the stars in Havana, of holding her late husband close as the world around them faded away. Tears rolled silently down her cheeks. When Lena finished, Rosa whispered, "Mi Nina, you turned noise into poetry." For the first time in years, Rosa felt alive again, her living room filling with music that bridged generations. Lena wasn't just covering a song, she was resurrecting memories, stitching the past and present into one. On the corner of Main Street, where the city turned its face away, stood a makeshift choir of the forgotten. Men and women in worn jackets and broken shoes gathered each night around a burned-out fountain. Among them was Marcus, a man who once sang on big stages before addiction and bad luck left him on the streets. One night, Marcus suggested they sing together, not just random chants, but a famous rock song everyone knew. They had no instruments, just voices cracked by cold and hunger. But Marcus taught them how to harmonize, how to turn each broken voice into part of something bigger. They began softly, hesitantly, but soon the air filled with sound, imperfect, raw, but breathtaking. Their cover stripped away the glitz of the original. This wasn't a performance, it was survival, a declaration, "We are still here." Passers-by stopped. Some filmed. Others cried. A child tugged at his mother's sleeve and whispered, "They sound like angels." The video went viral overnight. Millions watched, stunned by the beauty carved out of struggle. Donations poured in. More than money, though, came dignity. For the first time in years, the choir members weren't invisible, they were seen, heard, cherished. And Marcus, smiling through cracked lips, whispered to the group, "We didn't just cover a song. We covered our pain, and turned it into hope." At a small-town talent show, the gymnasium was decorated with crepe paper and hope. Kids in sequins waited nervously. Among them was Amira, 17, who had lost her mother only months before. She almost didn't come. When her turn came, Amira stepped onto the stage, clutching a microphone. The judges expected another karaoke copy of a hit song. But Amira began differently. She rearranged a chart-topping ballad into something stripped down, starting a cappella, her voice cracking with grief but filled with fire. The audience froze. Every lyric carried the weight of her loss. Her voice trembled, then rose, breaking, then soaring. It wasn't perfect. It was something better, it was real. By the time she finished, the entire gymnasium stood in silence before erupting in applause. Judges wiped their eyes. Parents hugged their children tighter. For Amira, it wasn't about winning. It was about survival, about singing her pain into the world so it didn't crush her inside. And when the last echo faded, she knew her mother had heard her. Months later, on a massive online platform, a compilation of these moments appeared: Elias in the bar, Lena in her grandmother's living room, Marcus and his choir, Amira on the school stage. Each had taken a song everyone knew and reshaped it into something unforgettable. The video was titled, "Popular Songs Transformed into Stunning Covers." It spread across continents, touching millions who realized music was more than sound, it was connection, resilience, love. In Brazil, a boy learned guitar after watching. In India, a grandmother cried listening. In Africa, a choir of children sang their own cover in tribute. What had begun as covers became something larger, proof that music, when reimagined with heart, could heal, unite, and change the world. Because sometimes, the most stunning performances don't come from stars on massive stages, they come from forgotten bars, small living rooms, street corners, and school gyms. And when popular songs are reborn through ordinary souls, they stop being entertainment. They become truth.